Sorry, I realized my camera, my sound was on mute already, and I don't know why. I think you're on mute.
Okay, there we go. I'm having the worst time. I've been sick and my laptop is not cooperating. And also I can't email y'all because I'm having authentication problems. So like I couldn't email everybody and say I'm having tech problems. Okay, we're going. I'm going to, and I think it's recording. Yes, I'm going to turn my camera off and see if I can log into my email and just send an email to everybody. But it's going to take me a few minutes. So I'll be back in a bit. Sorry.
Do you want me to send that out? I can send an email to the group if you'd like.
Really?
Yeah.
Like my email is not working on my phone. It won't pull up my sent box. If you would just tell everybody we are meeting, I was just having tech problems.
Okay.
That would be great. Thank you.
I actually thought it was mine because my Zoom needs an upload and it's not recognizing my password. And I'm like, well, that's the only one I use. So I was like, I might not be able to make it. And then I was like, well, didn't I click a link? And then it went in. But so at first I was like, I thought it was my Zoom. So I was like, well.
I feel like Zoom tells me every 3 days that it's updating and I have to absolutely replace everything.
There you go.
I hate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I feel that. Katie and I literally, I swear, you and I are both like the least lucky when it comes to like internet and internet. And so if it's not her, it's me. And so one of us always has got something trying to figure it out. And so whenever I'm like, okay, I look at the time, I'm like, this is the time that it's probably an internet thing. That's when I'll text, I'm like, are we good? Is everything okay? And that's so, yeah, if we, 9 times out of 10, if we are not already joined by the time we normally meet, that just safe to assume it is an internet issue and we will get it solved as soon as we can.
You know, I need to start including that in my intro.
Just be like, hello, welcome. Fair warning, if we're not on at 5:30, it's because there's internet.
It's because there's internet.
It's because there's an internet problem. Sorry. Also, like, who knows if I'm even going to use proper English grammar. That tends to happen. So,
okay, well, I will hand it over to you, Gillian. I am going to turn my screen off because I've been sick and I'm feeling kind of so.
I'm so sorry. I missed that. I had to try to turn my brightness up.
I'm just saying I'm going to turn off my camera because I've been sick and I'm just not feeling great. So.
All righty. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and get started. And if anybody joins in later, we can kind of catch them up. I just like to fair warn, if you're hearing an echo, that's me. I am at my parents' house and I'm in my sister's room and she's in college. So it's a very empty room, but it's the only place I have a good setup, at least somewhat of a good. So it's very echoey and I apologize. If it gets to be too much, I can try to figure out how to do something. I might talk quieter. I talk really loud normally, so that might be a thing. But just let me know. Okay, so what I have planned for today is we are going to learn about time, like the days of the week. I'm having to use my iPad, so my notes are not on my phone as proper, but basically the main one is like time. So days of the week, months of the year, how you would say morning, afternoon, night, today, tomorrow, those kind of things, anything that's related with time. Because I feel that's kind of a next step in conversation is you usually are going to talk about like what time it is or stuff like that. So since we kind of joined in later, we'll just kind of get into it. And we have videos that should be quizzes on like ABC and the numbers that you guys can check out and practice yourselves later on. So. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the days of the week. So Monday through Saturday are they're very similar. They're just the same motion, but with the sign changing for each letter. So it makes it easier. So I start with Monday because Sunday is a different one, and I like to show you guys all the same ones, and then on Sunday I'll show you what that one is. So Monday you're gonna do is you're gonna make an M. Okay, this light's not gonna help for me if you guys can't see them. Sorry, it's an M. You're gonna have it facing you, and then you're gonna go in circles. You're just gonna make a circle, and that is the sign for Monday. Monday. So it's an M. You want the back of your hand facing outward, so you're looking at the M, and you do circles. So Monday. Tuesday is going to be a T. Apologize again, this lighting is just not wanting to grasp the lines of my fingers, but it's the T in that same motion. So palm, back of your hand facing outward, your T facing you, and then the circular motion, T for Tuesday. Then we have W for Wednesday. Same thing, gonna have it in you. And then you just go in a circular motion, so Wednesday. Now for Thursday, because we already have the T for Tuesday, it's going to be a U. And the reason is because it's an H, but you're not gonna, that's just a weird motion. So you'll do your U facing, again, back of your hand pointing out, and a circular. So Thursday.
It's really an H face.
Yeah,
And then we have Friday.
you're wrong way.
So your F facing you again, Friday. And again, you want that back of your hand facing outward. That's how you do it. So Friday. Saturday is going to be the S, so the thumb over your knuckles. And then you're going to have facing you, and then Saturday.
Like Monday.
And then, so for Sunday, there are two different signs.
It's gonna be
One going to be, I gotta move my hair so you can see it. So it's gonna be Sunday, Sunday, or Sunday. And it's just kind of like circular motions. It's almost like when you're celebrating. So like, woo, so Sunday. Now, one of the questions I do get asked often when teaching the days of the week is how are you able to tell when you're doing a T from an S? So one of the things I always try to do is if I'm really trying to make sure, because most of the times teachers and kids, when I'm working with people who are deaf, they can tell very easily because it's their language, it's natural for them. But for us, it might be a little more challenging trying to recognize it because we're still learning. I always kind of emphasize my T. So I always make sure my thumb is really sticking out. It's almost like it's pointing up, and that's my T. And then for an S, my thumb is usually probably around my ring finger. And sorry, my dogs, they're gonna bark. Hopefully they will stop soon. I have a little barky dog, okay? She likes to bark all the time. So I apologize if it's too distracting. Hopefully she'll quiet soon. But anyways, I always have my thumb more on my ring finger, and it's not sticking, it's not like this, it's under, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how you tell them apart. So Tuesday, Saturday. And then with M, it's kind of noticeable that you have the 3 bumps over your thumb. You have like your little thumb sticking out. So those are just kind of key details that I always use to help kind of really clearly see what day they're talking about. Okay, so let's go back on our days of the week and start with Monday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And you want to make sure it's your pointer finger and your thumb touching. So you're making almost that F, that 9, yes. Friday, Saturday, again, the thumb is across your knuckles, Saturday. And then Sunday or Sunday. So whichever is kind of comfortable and easy for you. I have seen both ways, and both ways are accepted. So, okay. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you the signs for day, week, month, year, and then the small ones like hour, minute, and second. And we'll start small and big. I know I didn't do that in order, but that's how we'll do it. So for second, it's very subtle. And a lot of times it tends to be seconds are not always like the biggest deal, as I hate to say that, but it's like, it's hard to describe because there is a sign for second and minute that are very similar looking. And I'm going to show you the one I use for minute that's different, that helps it see it better. If that makes sense, you'll see. So second's going to have your non-dominant hand, just having a resting palm. Your dominant hand's going to have a pointer finger. Pointer finger is going to be touching. You want your knuckles touching the inside of your palm. And then you're very smallly just going to bounce your pointer finger back and forth. Very small, yes. You don't want it too big, you just want little ones. And so that's the sign for second. For minute, minute is bigger, but I have not seen this one as much. I actually see a different one that I prefer. And what it is you go, you have your non-dominant hand has a pointer finger, your dominant hand's got a pointer finger. You put your non-dominant hand at the bottom of your dominant hand. And then you go minute, minute. And what's cool with this is that when you're saying like 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, instead of having to go 4 minutes, you can go 4 minutes. Just have that 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. And sometimes when you get into those bigger numbers, like you're saying, like 50 minutes, they get a little hard. So that's when you would do 50 minutes. But for saying like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you can just do it on that pointer finger. Does that make sense to everybody? I know I'm having that weird trying to show, and if you need me to show it again, I can in a different setting. Is everyone good? Okay, perfect. So then we have hour. So hour is again gonna have your palm, your non-dominant hand palm out. Dominant hand's again in that pointer finger position, knuckles touching. And now your pointer finger is gonna go in a full circle, a full circle. And that's the sign for hour. Good, yes. So that is the sign for hour. And I always kind of picture it like when you have an hour, you have the big hand go a full circle before it changes. You know, that's how I always envision it, but I'm more of a visual learner, so I like to make pictures and connections like that. If that doesn't work for you guys, it's totally fine. Whatever way that helps you remember hour, second, minute, it's whatever works for you. So hour. Okay, then we have day. So the sign for day is going to actually, again, have 2 hands. Your non-dominant hand is going to be kind of resting like this, sideways. Now, I'm going to have it higher up so you guys can see it better. More, this is usually around kind of almost like your stomach area. It's to be comfortable. So if you feel like, wow, this is very uncomfortable, this is very awkward, it would be, you would want to move it lower. So, because again, with sign, it's not supposed to be like stiff and difficult. It's supposed to be natural. It's supposed to be like how natural it is for us to talk. So, but I do mine higher so you guys can see it clearer. So your non-dominant hand is going to be in a fist straight across. Your dominant hand is going to be elbow to your knuckle. And then for day, let me pull it down real quick. Your finger is going to be pointer finger. So it's at the top, so that pointer finger. And then you go down, day, day, day. Good. All right. And then for week, we have, again, these have 2 hands. These use a lot of these signs have 2 hands. So your week is going to have your non-dominant hand palm up. Dominant hands again in that pointer finger position. You start from the base, basically where your thumb is, and you go straight across. Week. So week. And again, this is one of those where you might be lower down, more natural, but I'm trying to emphasize so you guys can see it better. Week. Right. Then we have month, and I promise we'll go back over them. I'm just trying to get through the whole group and then I'll go back. So month is going to be, it's going to look a little weird. Month is going to have non-dominant hands a pointer. Dominant hand is also a pointer. you're gonna want your dominant hand looking like this and going down the back of your non-dominant pointer finger. The back of it, yes. I'm not a big fan of the sign for the month. I'm not even gonna lie. It's just not my favorite, because when you're trying to describe, you'll see in a minute why it's not my favorite, because I'll let you know again. But so this is month. All right, then we have year. So year is going to be non-dominant hands in a fist, dominant hands in a fist, dominant hand is on top, and then you're just gonna make a full circle around it. Full circle. So this is year. Year. And you want to make sure you're not going backwards, you're going forwards. Forwards. Year. Okay. So now we'll go all the way back to second and go through them all again. So second. Then we have minute. Hour, sorry, I was ready to go to week. I'm jumping on my times, but we have hour. Then we have day. And your hand, if it's fist, relaxed, open, either way works. That's not a strict thing where it has to look that certain way. It's whatever, again, is comfortable for you. So day. Week. Then month. And you want to have your inside palm facing you on your dominant hand. So like this, where my thumb is kind of towards me. That's month, yeah. It's a very strange looking one. It is hard to tell, especially on Zoom. So that's why I always say those, I really clarify so you guys can see it. So month, and we have year. Okay, so here's my little segment, like, that I do my little side notes of, but when this helps to explain what we're going to learn about next, which is going to be next week, next year, last week, last month. When you are signing those things, it's really important to be aware of that, your way your body is going to be signing them. So in the front is going to be the future. So anything that happens next week, next year, next month is going to go forwards. Anything that's happening now, like this month, is going to be right around here in our normal, where we're at. It's basically, if you imagine yourself on a timeline, we're right here, this is present, this is now. Whereas the future is forwards in front of us. And then back, anything in the past, like last week, last month, is going to go behind us. So that's just kind of a key. I'm sorry, I got to put my hair up. It's very long and it gets in the way, and I like to have it down, but then when I'm doing this, I realize I cannot have it down. So, but that is just kind of, and you'll notice when we do the signs that same thing is going to keep going, that everything about the future is in the front. Anything that's happening now is going to be here, and anything in the past is going to be in the back. So what we're going to start with is we're going to start with last week. And the reason is because for days like yesterday, tomorrow, I'll show you guys that one later on. So week is going to be the same sign of week, but now next week, you're going to go across and then forward. So almost like you're making a C with your hand. So you start here and you're kind of looping. Next week. I have also seen, the other kids will go from like opposite of to your pointer fingers. They'll go next week. And it's like you go under your hand. Yeah. So you kind of come from your pointer finger, go inward, and then you go down and out. That one I do see often, but it is kind of hard to do if you're not used to it. So I always suggest in the beginning doing just next week, across in front. Next week. Then we have next month. So this one is one of the reasons why I don't always like the sign for month. So it's going to be, you do the sign for month, next, and then you go out. So down, you're going to come to the side and then out. next month, next month, next month, next month. And if it feels weird, I promise you that that's normal. It makes you want to question if you're actually signing it right, because it just doesn't feel right. I always have that question every time I do it. So next month. Okay, then we have next year. Next year is super easy. You start with your fists and you just go next year, next year, next year. You do not have to loop and go forward. Nope, it's just next year, forward, next year. So how are we feeling on the next week, next month, next year? Are we feeling good?
The question,
Yes.
the index finger that you use for minutes, seconds, days, it's not the same index as the D. Or is
It is. It is.
Okay. This is a D, but occasionally you did it with just your fist.
So
I guess the difference in this and this.
oh, okay. So that is just, sometimes that's just how my hands will naturally go. Those, it really is whatever's, again, comfortable with your hand. Sometimes I'll do more of that infinite fist, especially if I'm going to be touching my palm, I'll flatten more because that's just not comfortable. I'll do that. But then again, when I'm doing this, I do tend to go outward more. And that's actually just because when I was learning about it, this was in my mind, I pictured this being like the sun and then the sun going throughout the day. So I always tend to make it bigger because I'm thinking of a sun. But again, this is acceptable. This is acceptable. Any way that's comfortable, as long as you have the pointer finger up, that's acceptable. Sorry about that. I do tend to, I'll notice I'll do that. And it's the way whatever feels comfortable. The thing with ASL is it's not always that strict, as in, if it's this, it's a big deal. It's just kind of whatever is, again, comfortable. So, and again, I do tend to flatten my hand when I'm pushing it against my palm for comfort. All right, so now we're gonna do last week, last month, last year, okay? So last week, you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna go across your palm, but now you're gonna go back. So last week, last week, last week. Perfect. And then we have last month. So this one can be weird, and every time I slow it down, I always have to hesitate. It's not because I don't know it, it's because it's just a kind of a strange one. Is you're gonna go down and then back. Last month. Last month. And I always pull my head back. I don't know, I guess in my mind, I'm thinking I'm about to hit myself with my hand, because I always do that yank back, like, oh gosh, do not want to smack myself. So last month, last month. Then we have last year. So last year is going to be, again, those fists, last year, last year, last year. Perfect.
Does it matter which year? I mean, which shoulder at all?
No, it does not. No. So, because again, I am left-handed, so my natural is, but if there is any one that has a specific one, I will show you where you would use, if it has to be the right hand, I will let you know. Most of the time you do not have to use your right hand, like, okay, not what I meant. You do not have to really be careful of if you're using your left hand or your right hand. Most of the time it's fine. Usually the biggest one I always have is the J's. So do not worry, but again, I will let you know. And if you're curious about it, again, happy to answer questions. So, all right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do yesterday and today and tomorrow. So we'll start with today. So today you're going to make two Y's, have them facing up. So your fingers are kind of upward, and you're going to bounce them twice. Today, today, today. Excuse me. And so the difference is if you do one, that means now. So sometimes it's always funny seeing people when they're learning, they'll go like good today, or good now. Like they'll get them mixed up. Today is going to bounce now. And I remember I did a mistake one time where I said something about today, but I said now, and I was very excited. So it was very like aggressive looking. And someone kind of backed up because they was like, almost like how when we yell, you come here right now. And I was like, I am so sorry. That is not what I meant. I meant today. So today, now. And this, I always imagine like my mother just saying, come here now. So I'm always a little strong with that now, but today, now. Then we have tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to have your thumb touching the corner of your lip and then forward tomorrow. Tomorrow. Good. Yesterday is going to be, again, thumb to the corner of your lip, and you're going to go back to your ear. So yesterday. Now, I have seen people where they'll use the Y for yesterday, and they'll do yesterday. Either way is accepted. I learned it this way, so that's why I tend to do this more, but I do have kids who do use the Y. The reason they use the Y is because there's a couple of signs that are around here that can be kind of similar looking. Like, for example, the sign for deaf, the actual sign for deaf, D-E-A-F, is pointer finger to your ear, deaf. So that's just to help clarify because they do look kind of similar. So they'll do the Ys. But again, it's whatever is comfortable and helps you, about to say deaf when I mean yesterday, but it helps you remember it. Okay, so now we'll kind of pull back on and kind of go all the way back to next week, next month, next year. So next week, next month, next year. And you can start with your pointer finger on your fist. You can start with your fists and turn it to a pointer finger. Either way is accepted. So next year, either way. All right, then we have last week. And okay, so let me explain what I tend to do with last week that you might notice is I tend to actually have the back of my hand go across, and it makes it easier to do that because you can do that, but it can feel kind of strange. So I will already have the back of my palm, like back of my hand on my palm. So it's pointing upward, and then I'll do that. It feels a little more comfortable doing that backwards motion. Again, either one is accepted. If that makes sense.
Ask again. Can I interrupt again? Does it matter which way you go? Does it have to be thumb to fingers? Because when we did like the next week, it went that way, didn't it? For the other version?
Yeah. So neither way is really, at least from I've seen, is not a strict on you have to go from thumb to pointer finger or pointer fingers to thumb. It's almost more for comfort. Like sometimes you can do next week. Oh, I did that. I'm so sorry. I realized I was doing next week. That's what I did or did I? Next week. Now I'm confusing myself. So it's not strict. It does not have to go thumb to fingers or fingers to thumb. It can go either way that's comfortable. It really just depends on if you come from your fingers to your thumb, then you're gonna go under your hand. But if you go from your thumb to your fingers, you'll go forward.
What was day again?
So day is going to be your non-dominant hand out and then pointer finger down. Day. Day. And again, it can be the kind of the closed fist or the open fist. Either way, it's comfortable. It works. All right. Are there any more questions you guys got? I mean, totally curious. I don't want to like keep confusing you if I'm signing something that you're like, I am still struggling. Are we still good? Okay, perfect. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to, because we have about 18 minutes, I'm still going to give you guys some more signs, of course, I'm going to talk about how you sign the months of the year. So what you do for the months of the year is actually really simple. You just finger spell pretty much the first 3 letters of the month. So if you're finger spelling like the month for January, and I'm going to use my right hand because of the J, you would just do J-A-N. So January. I go fast, sorry. So J-A-N. And then for February, I'm going to go back to my left hand now, but it's still the same motion, still the same one. You'll just do F-E-B. So F-E-B. And then for March, you can fully fingerspell March because that is not that long of a word, but you can also just do M-A-R. So M-A-R. Then we have April. Sorry, I was ready to skip to May. In April, you do actually fingerspell. I've seen people tend to do A-P-R-I-L. April. And again, this comes with practice of practicing the spelling. That helps you get more kind of comfortable and natural with the spelling of the months. Do you guys want to continue with the months? I mean, again, it is just like M-A-Y. So May. We can continue with them if you guys want, or if you're like, I can figure that out because it's the same thing we do when we shorthand. Do you guys want to proceed, or do you want to go through the months of the year?
Whatever you think.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was like, I can't tell if anyone's trying to talk because my screen smells. I'm like, is people trying to talk, or am I just awkwardly staring at everybody? Okay, so well, I'll help to kind of clarify. I will just go through the months then to help you guys. So May is going to be M-A-Y. Then I'm going to switch hands again. I'm sorry, it's confusing, but for June, so J-U-N, and this one you would do the E. So for June, July, and April, you would fully fingerspell them, but they're not, it's not like it's 7 extra letters you're having to add. It's just the J-U-N-E. Then we have July, which is J-U-L-Y. Then we have August. Sorry, when you go so slow, you almost are like, wait, which month am I at right now? So how to think and go through my mind again. So August is going to be A, U, and then G. And then we will have September. So then you'll just do S, E, P, T. And then October, which is now, so O, C, T. And then November will be N, O, V. And then December, D, E, C. So those are how you would sign the months of the year. They, again, it's really more just practice that finger spelling. And I have seen, if it comes down to it where you're like, I just cannot get this finger spelling done. I had to one time be like I said month 4 or something like that. I literally went month 6, month 7, and they're like, oh, September. And I was like, yeah, that month. And they just look at you like, but either way, it's like the thing I enjoy with ASL is you can try to find other ways. If you're like, I just cannot do this right now. Okay, 7th month. You can find other ways to get your point across, which I always enjoy. So, okay. So now that we got that not finished, but now that we have that, we can either do one of 2 things. We can go on down to holidays, which I always like. So what I'll do is, oh wait, sorry, I have a side note I wanted to add. I would suggesting if you guys would like to do a Halloween themed class where I will teach you signs for Halloween, like Halloween signs. So like monsters, zombies, mummies, like all those things. I personally love holidays, especially like with Halloween. And I'm not gonna lie, Halloween signs are really fun. So I was thinking, because we are lucky enough to have the month of October, that maybe the week before, like that Tuesday before October, before Halloween, we can have that month to be more of a fun one where we'll just learn those signs. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay, I see smiles. That tells me that you guys are excited for that. I'm sorry, I'm really excited. I love the Halloween signs. They're like my favorite ones. I get really excited when my kids are like telling me what they're gonna dress up as, because they are just like, they get so animated. Their facial expressions are everywhere. It's really cool. So we will do that, not next week, but the second, so in 2 weeks, we will do that. Oh, that reminds me, when you're doing, sorry, I realized I did not add this. When you're doing 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, you can just do 3 weeks. You can just add that 3 and do the motion. It's the same thing for next, like 3 months, 3 years. And it's just kind of a nice, easier way. Instead of having to just do 3 years, you can just do 3 years. 2 weeks, well, I'm sorry, I do flip 2 weeks, 2 weeks. I tend to do that. I apologize. Either way, it's because I see it so much that I just, whatever my first hand motion does, I follow. So, but it's still the same. So 2 weeks, 2 weeks. Okay, now that I totally got off on my little side note, back to what I was saying is we can do one of two things for our last 10 minutes. We can just kind of practice again, reviewing all the time signs, or we can go on to the holidays and I can show you the signs for just all the holidays in general. Which would you guys prefer?
Let's do holidays.
Okay, is that good with everybody? Okay, perfect. Okay, I do like that one anyways. I know you guys like need reviews, but I always enjoy just giving you guys as many signs as I can. I tend to do that, so that's what I like to do. Anyway, so we'll start with January, which is New Year's. So the sign for New Year's is you're gonna go, the sign for new, which is palm up. Your non-dominant hand's palm up. Dominant hand's kind of also in that motion, and you're gonna go new. New. It's almost like you're scooping. So new, new, then year. So New Year's. New Year's. And if you're saying New Year's Eve, you would finger spell Eve. So New Year's Eve. For New Year's Day, you would just add the New Year's Day. Okay, so then on to the next month, which is Valentine's Day. So Valentine's Day is going to be, sorry, the barky dog is going at it again. I'm hoping someone will shh her, but hopefully she'll be done. You're gonna have both your middle fingers pointing kind of where you put, like wherever we say our heart is, and you're gonna make a heart. So Valentine's Day. You'll do Valentine's Day. So you have your pointer fingers again. So your pointer fingers are what's actually touching you and making, I know it's very weird, making a heart. So you're just gonna make a heart. So Valentine's Day. And then we have St. Patrick's Day in the month of March, which I love it. I learned this one last year because I didn't actually learn this one before. And so for St. Patrick's Day, you just pinch yourself. So this is St. Patrick's Day. It's St. Patrick's Day. So St. Patrick's Day. It's just pinch and then day. I don't know. I was so excited when I saw this one. Someone was asking me about it and they kept signing this. And I looked at them, I was like, I do not know what you're saying. I do not know this sign. And she looked at me and she goes, you know, you wear the color green. If you don't, you get pinched. And I was like, oh, that day. She's like, yeah. I was like, oh, didn't learn it. So St. Patrick's Day. Then for the month of April, I've never seen a sign for April Fool's Day. I would assume you would say silly, like silly day or a trick day. So I'll show you the sign for silly and trick. But most of the times I have not actually seen any kind of sign for that. And I'll try to ask someone and see if there is one. And if not, I will let you guys know. So the sign for silly is you're going to have a Y. Your thumb is going to be kind of towards your nose, and then you just shake it across your nose. Silly. And I love this one. I'll look at a kid, I'm like, you're being silly. And it's just a fun sign. I don't know. I just think it's so fun. So silly. Then the sign for trick. And this is also the sign for tease. So you'll kind of learn as we go that there are a lot of signs that are very just similar. So you're going to have them both in those X, both hands in an X. Non-dominant is going to be sideways. So your X is sideways. Same with your dominant. And you're going to go across. Just kind of bouncing them across. If you can see, I'll go slow. And so this is a sign for trick, tease, joke, those kind of things. I think there is another sign for joke, but this is the one I tend to use. So trick. And then, okay, so then you would just say like silly day, trick day, probably would finger spell April, silly day, or April, trick day. I think those would both kind of suffice and someone would get the point. Then we have the month of May. So that would be Mother's Day. So for Mother's Day and Father's Day, you would just sign the words for mom and dad, which we will do families, I believe, next week, but I'll show you guys that one now. So I heard something outside and I just was not ready for it. But so the sign for mom is going to be thumb to your chin, mom, and then day. So mom, day. Then for dads, the month of June, you're going to have your thumb on top of your forehead and then do day. So dad, day. And I'll explain why they're up here when we have more talks about the family. Just thought I would tell you, if you guys are curious, we will talk about it, I promise. So then.
Do the fingers need to be spread apart or can they be together?
So you do want them kind of spread apart.
Okay.
So you got mom and dad. Then the month of July is 4th of July. What you'll do is really it's just your fingers spell July. And then the 4, you'll shake it once, fourth. And you don't just keep shaking, you just kind of do one little. And the reason is because when you do that with a number, that's that TH or that RD. So 3rd, 4th, 5th. That's how you signify that TH added at the end. So if you're talking about places like first place, you would say second place, third place, that kind of thing. All right. Then we have August. I don't think August has like a really big holiday now that I'm thinking about it. It's my mom's birthday, so I always assume that there's a holiday there because it's my mom's birthday, but we don't have one. And then September, not any that.
Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Thank you. I won't lie. I was sitting there going, is it Labor Day or is it MLK Day? I know I'm a teacher and I can't remember them. They get me mixed up every time. That is so sad. And I try so hard to remember, but my days get flopped. So for Labor Day, I do just see them fingerspell labor. So I'll go slow. Sorry. LABOR. So Labor Day. That's what I've seen. I haven't seen an actual sign for it. And then we'll have October. So Halloween. Halloween has 2 signs. One is you're going to have just both your hands kind of resting. They're not straight, but they're kind of curved just a little. And you're going to go Halloween. It's almost like you're doing peekaboo. So peekaboo. So Halloween. And then another one for Halloween is just your 2 fingers and you do the same thing. So Halloween. And this is again, just that clarify that H. So Halloween. So Halloween, Halloween. And then November is Thanksgiving. So for Thanksgiving, what you'll do is you're going to have both your hands to your chin like this, and you're going to go Thanksgiving. So you bounce them out. And the reason for this is actually, so the sign for thank you is thank you. So again, and you don't want under, you do not want under. That is not a nice word. So I'm just telling you now, make sure your fingers are touching your chin. So thank you. I didn't see any of y'all doing it. I just thought I would tell you guys. People didn't, my teachers were like, I'm not teaching you the bad words. I'm like, but if you don't teach me, if I do it wrong, it's going to be really embarrassing for me. So please tell me what they are. So I just like to bring that out there, that you want your fingers touching your chin and you go, thank you. Thank you. And so when you do this, that means many thanks, which is Thanksgiving Day. So many thanks. So thank you. Thanksgiving, sorry. Then we have December. So we have Christmas and Hanukkah. I do add that one. I always get this one mixed up. I will not lie. I hate that I do it, but I do. But so for Christmas, there's a couple of ways you can do it. One is you have non-dominant hand sideways, dominant hand on top, like you do day, but it's going to be in a C, and you can go Christmas. You just kind of shake it a little. I've also seen Christmas where you come up from the top, Christmas, like Christmas, Christmas. And I've seen also C's and making a wreath. So Christmas, Christmas. There's a lot of different ones I've seen. Every time I talk to someone, they show me a different sign for Christmas. So it's whatever kind of feels for you. I tend to kind of mix that shake in this one and just go Christmas, like I curve upward, Christmas. But that's the sign for Christmas. The sign for Hanukkah is going to be, if I get this wrong, I will tell you guys and I will apologize profusely. But so it's going to be your 4 fingers and then you just have them together. So Hanukkah. So, and it represents the 8 candles. So Hanukkah. And again, I will always double check that. I always try to keep them close so it looks like that, you know, it's not outward, it's more just like kind of close to each other. So the fingers are almost touching. So Hanukkah. All right. I think that.
What about, is there a sign for Easter?
Easter and Passover.
Yes, so I've not seen a sign for Passover. I'm sorry, Passover. I'm stuttering a little. But I will definitely check with someone and see if there is one. I've always just, a lot of the people I do work with do celebrate Christmas, so they don't always celebrate Passover. But I will check and see if there is one that they know of. And for Easter always gets a little confusing to me. When I mean that is, I mean it's very similar looking to other signs, and so it's not always clear. But you'll make that E, and I've seen Easter. Like you just shake your E. And I will again double check and make sure, because there's E right here, which is so like this is like Europe, sign for Europe. And then you have, if you do 2 E's, that's like emergency. So that's why I'm always like, is that really actually Easter? And so, but that's one I have seen, so Easter. Are there any others?
A question, totally unrelated to this, but it's been on my mind. Is the G and Q exactly the same? It's just, this is G, this is Q.
Yes. Yes.
And same for P and K. Same thing, up and down.
Yes.
G, Q, P, K.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. No, you're totally fine. Those questions I welcome. Like I welcome questions that are just like, I'm just curious about one thing about, you know, how does this happen in with like deaf culture? I'm always welcome to those questions. So don't ever feel bad for asking me. I'm always like, there are no silly questions, because I was always a curious little person too about it. Like, oh my gosh, I would ask too many questions. So I welcome them. So if you ever have any questions, just let me know. But yes, so G and Q are going to be that same. It's just the placement of sideways or down. And then for K and P, it's the same thing. So it's just K and then a P. All right. So it is now 6:30. Are there any last questions you guys have, or you think you guys are good? You can give me a thumbs up, or you can voice if you need to. So good. All righty. Well, thank you guys for joining. I know it was kind of a little bit of a shorter time because of the internet, but I appreciate you guys still coming and getting to learn. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.
Okay, I'm sorry. I've had a mysterious illness. I had a COVID test. My doctor hasn't called me back yet, but I've had like stomach upset, fatigue. It's been awful. So like, it was just a mess tonight, but I'm gonna get this uploaded and I'll send it out to everybody tomorrow.
It sounds good. No worries. I promise. Like, I mean,
It sounded like y'all had a good class.
yes, and I had questions. I always like when they ask questions. Oh my gosh, it's my puppy. Hi, puppy.
Hi.
Better not be getting any taller.
She's working on it. She's eating. So
No, Poppy, you have to stay that height. I can't handle it.
I have to weigh her down. But anyway, yeah, so I'll send that out and get the notes out to everybody. And then I'm gonna figure out in Zoom how to add you, or like how to give you controls without you having to like do all the admin stuff. Like I'm gonna watch some of their tutorials because surely there's a magic. It's so rude. Surely there's a way that like we have the Zoom Pro. And so I thought it was supposed to give us extra capabilities. But like when I try to assign you as another person, I have to like add you on my account somehow. So I thought surely there has to be a better way. So I'm going to do a little digging and see what I can figure out, because I mean, that's just the thing. Like I might be having problems, but you might not. So, or I might look at doing a room. I don't know. I'll figure something out.
Either works. I mean, I completely understand with internet things. So either way, if you can figure out if you need to do like a test practice, just let me know.
Yeah.
So.
That is a good idea. Sounds awesome. Okay, well, I'll see you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.